The approved nominees in this batch are Deputy Minister-Designate for Energy, Andrew Kofi Ejapa-Mensah, Deputy Minister-Designate for Education, Reverend John Ntim-Fojo, Deputy Minister-Designate for Lands and Natural Resources, George Mreku-Duka, Deputy Minister-Designate for Defense, Kofi Amankwa-Amenu. The rest are Deputy Minister-Designate for Interior, Nana Iya-Kwanzaa, Deputy Minister-Designate for Transport, Hassan Tampuli, Deputy Minister-Designate for Transport, Frederick Obeng-Adom, Deputy Minister for Roads and Highways, Mavis Nkansa-Bwedu, Deputy Minister-Designate for Youth and Sports, Evans Opoku-Bobie, Deputy Minister-Designate for Health, Tinana Ayele-Mensah, Deputy Minister-Designate for Agriculture, Mohammed Hadi Tuferu. This is the second batch of approved nominees after the initial number of 11 nominees and 1 Minister of State nominee were approved earlier in the week. After the approval, Tamale North MP Alhassan Suhuyini spoke to the press about his decision to oppose the approval of Gifty Twum-Ampofo as Deputy Minister-Designate for Education.
It's not about me, it's about our democracy, and it's about the need for us, even as we are confronted with situations that sometimes make it difficult for us to live below the expectations of our constituents. Our conscience need to be alive to the obvious threats of especially corruption to our democracy. And I, unfortunately, in my interaction with the nominee during the vetting and after the vetting, I was left with the impression that this is a nominee who doesn't see anything wrong with what the CDD found out.
Deputy Majority Leader Alexander Apenyomaken responded to the concerns of the minority.
The work of Parliament, as Mr. Speaker rightly indicated, is founded on rules and procedure. The parliamentary jurisprudence is clear on what must be done at committee level and at plenary. To me, it's not about somebody's personal sentiment or somebody's personal disagreement. And for the record and for the avoidance of doubt, we are hearing that some nominees or a nominee might have had an issue with a member of Parliament. But that, to my mind, is a personal matter.
Earlier on the floor of the House, the Minority Leader filed an oral application requesting for a bipartisan probe into the acquisition of Sputnik V vaccines by government.
For which motion, as I've emphasized, will be to call for a bipartisan probe, because for all intents and purposes, we think that even that transaction is an international economic transaction within the meaning of Article 1815 of the Constitution. Parliament is not aware of it. We would want to appreciate and understand the procurement processes that were used, but more importantly, to demand value for money for the Ghanaian taxpayer, and that we are not just seeking to profit from COVID with this questionable transaction. So, Mr. Speaker, we will file an urgent motion. We've done that. I'm sure the table will give it to you before the close of sitting, but it's a matter that I would have raised if I got opportunity to be at the business committee